The story opens in Red Bluff during a dying gold evening where dust drifts like memory and settles into the lungs of men who have known loss longer than they've known comfort. A cowboy rides alone across the borderlands, following the thin trail of smoke that leads him to a broken wagon resting crooked at the edge of a dry ravine. At first, he thinks it's just another abandoned freight, but then he hears the soft whimper of someone trying not to cry. Beneath a splintered board lies a wounded Comanche girl, barely conscious, her leg twisted, her breath sharp with pain. He lifts the board carefully, realizing she's small, terrified, and clearly running from something. When he picks her up, she clings to his shirt quietly, as though unsure whether he is enemy or salvation. He talks to her gently, try to soothe her trembling, telling her she's safe now even though he doesn't fully believe it himself. Her injury is bad enough that she can't survive a night in the open. So he makes the choice to carry her across open prairie toward his barn, a place where he once sheltered injured horses, runaways, and even his own brother during fevers. As he rides, he remembers his mother's teachings about protecting those who cannot protect themselves, and every step of his Mustang feels like a vow to keep the girl breathing. Coyotes howl in the distance, and the prairie winds rise cold enough to sting his eyes, but he keeps her close to his chest. When he reaches the barn, he lays her on soft hay and wraps her leg as best he can, whispering promises he never expected to speak to a stranger. The girl tries to warn him with fragmented words that something terrible follows her, but the cowboy doesn't understand the full danger yet. He only knows she is alone and hurt, and that no child should fear the night this deeply. As he works, he senses movement in the dark fields. A flicker of torchlight far out on the horizon hints that her people are searching. He reassures her again, brushing dirt from her hair, promising she's safe, unaware that saving her is about to pull him into a storm he cannot outrun. Before dawn, he wakes to the sound of distant hooves pounding like rolling thunder across the plains. The Comanche are coming fast, their silhouettes flickering in the early light. The girl tries to sit up, panicked, whispering that the warriors will think he took her. He tells her he won't hand her over until she's healed, even though fear coils in his chest. He steps outside the barn and sees riders cresting the ridge, dozens and hundreds, spreading across the field like a tide of vengeance. Still, he stands his ground, remembering his father's voice telling him that a man who shields the innocent must never bend, even under the weight of death. When the warriors surround the barn, the air thickens with tension. The cowboy raises his hands slowly, refusing to run, refusing to hide, trying to communicate peace with gestures and a steady voice. Some warriors draw their bows, but an elder steps forward, studying him with ancient suspicion. The cowboy insists he found the girl injured and brought her only to keep her alive. The elder demands proof, so the cowboy allows two riders to enter the barn. When they see her alive and bandaged, they hesitate. The girl reaches for the cowboy's hand, a silent testimony that unsettles them. Outside, the warriors mutter among themselves. Some think he abducted her. Others sense honor in his stillness. The sun climbs, baking the field in harsh gold as pressure builds like a boiling pot. The cowboy refuses to abandon the girl, even though he knows a single raised voice could end his life. He speaks of family, of losing his brother young, of never letting harm touch someone fragile again. The elder listens, unmoved but thoughtful. The girl's breathing steadies as she clings to the cowboy's shirt, and that small gesture begins to shift the energy among the warriors. The cowboy quietly prepares himself for the worst while hoping for a sliver of mercy. It becomes clear to him that trust must be earned not through words but through sacrifice, and he senses that the coming minutes will decide whether he dies or becomes forever bound to the fate of the girl he carried through dust and moonlight. Afternoon heat weighs heavy when a second group of Comanche riders arrives. These ones aggressive, furious, and convinced the cowboy is guilty. They accuse him of trespass, of deceit, of taking what was not his. The elder tries to calm them, but younger warriors hunger for retribution. The cowboy feels a shift immediately. Lines are being drawn, sides forming, tempers rising. Inside the barn, the girl cries softly, fearing the fight is because of her. He kneels beside her, reminding her gently that none of this is her fault, brushing her hair back in a way that echoes how he once comforted his niece during thunderstorms. She grips his hand as though it's the only thing tethering her to safety. Suddenly, a warrior fires an arrow into the barn wall, a warning shot. The cowboy steps out, standing between the door and the riders, refusing to show fear. His courage angers some, impresses others. A younger warrior challenges him directly, demanding he release her and accept judgment. The cowboy refuses, saying she is hurt and cannot be moved. This sparks chaos. Shouts erupt, horses rear, bows draw. The elder raises a staff, calling for silence, but the younger faction does not yield. One of them charges forward, and the cowboy braces for a blow, ready to die protecting her. But at the last second, the girl cries out a single word in her language. The charging warrior halts. Her voice, fragile yet fierce, ripples through the circle of men. She speaks again, haltingly, explaining how she was ambushed by bandits and left for dead, how the cowboy found her and carried her with gentle hands, how he shielded her from cold and fear. A murmur rises among the warriors. The younger ones hesitate. The elder listens, eyes narrowing with realization. The truth she speaks is irrefutable, and now every warrior sees the cowboy not as a captor, but as a man who kept the daughter of their nation alive through the night. Yet not all are convinced. Resentment still hangs thick in the air. The cowboy feels the dangerous balance, aware that words alone won't settle this. Something bigger must happen, something undeniable. And as the wind shifts and storm clouds gather on the far horizon, he senses the coming reckoning will demand everything he has left. Lightning cracks across the plains as the storm rolls in, fierce as the tension circling the barn. The warriors tighten their formation, prepared either for judgment or peace. The elder steps forward, declaring that actions, not words, will decide the cowboy's fate. Just as he speaks, the bandits who injured the girl appear along the ridge, hoping to finish what they started and take advantage of the chaos below. Their rifles gleam beneath the storm-lit sky. Without hesitation, the cowboy shields the girl with his body, shouting a warning to Comanche. The bandits fire first. The warriors react instantly, unleashing a wave of arrows that streak like burning comets through the rain. The cowboy grabs his rifle and stands beside them, fighting not as outsider or enemy, but as kin bound by duty. The storm roars, hooves thunder, bullets tear through the air. Warrior after warrior realizes the cowboy fights for the girl, not against her people. When the last bandit falls, silence spreads except for the hiss of rain on earth. The elder approaches the cowboy slowly, eyes softened with something close to respect. He says the cowboy carried not just a wounded child, but the weight of two nations' mistrust, and proved stronger than both. The girl, now safe, takes the cowboy's hand and presses it to her cheek, a gesture of deep gratitude and belonging. The elder announces that no harm will touch the cowboy, for he has walked through fire for their daughter. The circle of warriors parts, no longer surrounding him as an enemy, but honoring him as a brother of the plains. The cowboy breathes deeply, rain mingling with the warmth of relief, understanding he has earned a place he never sought but will forever cherish. The girl smiles at him through tears, her small fingers curled around his, and the storm clouds begin to break, letting sunlight spill across the soaked fields in a golden, trembling hush.